As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. I was born into freedom in a wonderful land of mountains and plains, rivers and lakes. Forever American is what I am. A past as rich as any can be. My father's worked hard to give this to me. I love this place I come from. To live another way I cannot foresee. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. As an American, I've been to the peaks of majestic mountains where the air is sweet. I've watched the eagle as it soars in beautiful skies that just can't be ignored. And by this country I'll always stand, for freedom and liberty for every man. When times are hard and things get rough, America always stands ready and rough. As an American, I eat apple pie, play baseball under its blue skies. As an American, I travel this land and follow her roads wherever I can. From sea to shining sea, I've seen a lot, and none of it will be forgot. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. And when my country called, I gave my all as an American. Forever American is what I am.
Hi, welcome to Real News Live. Thanks for joining us tonight. Great you guys are here. Trying to raise our goal, of course, of $200. We've raised $30 so far. Thank you, Tia, for that donation. Hello, Rodney. Hello, Richard. Hello, Linda. Hello, Tia. Hello, Luke. Hello, Sandra. Hello, Matt. Hello, Melinda. Hello, Teresa. Hello, Nana. Hello, Debbie. How you guys all doing tonight? Hi, Jeff. Hi, Rodney. Hi, Debbie Martin. How you guys doing? A lot going on out there. For, of course, banks are still failing. Another chaotic week for banks marks the end of an era for the global economy, let's be honest. With the pressure of higher interest rates and inflation showing up and squeezing out weaker points in the financial system, how far will it spread? And what can the Feds even do about it at this point? It's the big questions that we're going to be asking. Of course, knowing what's happening is just drastic. Watching, of course, families having to try to make ends meet with no money no sort of extra income right now. Watching this chaotic event that's happening, it's not going to let up anytime soon. I mean, what are we going to do? The Feds are, the financial world feels as though it's been turned upside down. In many ways, it has. Let's take you through the blow by blow, accounting what has hit us. We can look at how we got here and where we're going next. Because that's the biggest question: is where do we end up when all this is said and done? Of course, Americans know that this is just getting tighter and the financial sector is going to get worse before it gets better. Fortunately, that's the way it looks, and it's going to stay that way for a while at least. It's chaotic, though. It's just the beginning. What to say? I mean, we have First Republican Bank, obviously, having huge troubles. Credit Suisse now having huge troubles, to the point where BlackRock doesn't even want to step in. They do not want to participate in any plans of rescuing Credit Suisse. And BlackRock, of course, turns down some of the biggest things that there is. I mean, BlackRock has the money to do it, but they're not planning on investing. They're not planning on participating in any plans to help any of the banks or acquire any of them. They have no interest in doing so. Yes. Cash App's the easiest, but we have Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, even Zelle. If you click on the link below, let you know the email to use for Zelle if you have a bank account already. To donate, you guys can use any of those links. We definitely appreciate that. But watching BlackRock, of course, not taking part of this is the biggest thing. I mean, this would be good if they would have bid on something. Otherwise, USBGS, to acquiring the struggling bank, would even be worse. Credit Suisse, of course, bailed out BlackRock, or bailed out Republican Bank, bailed out Switzerland's bank, the Bank of Switzerland. And now Credit Suisse's failing. Only for another bank that's on the verge of failing, wanting to acquire them. This is crazy. Watching this all as the dollar slips, as banking turmoil is, of course, snaring the markets. Dollar fell Friday as further declines in the shares of Credit Suisse and First Republican Bank rattled the markets, fearful of the contingents of increased concern and recession lies that we've been hearing. Of course, Biden, one of many people giving out those lies. But ahead of that, the impact of tighter monetary policies, an early recovery in European stocks ran out of steam. Investors remained fragile after the week of turbulence followed by Silicon Bank's fall on March 10th. U.S. banks have sought a record $153 billion in emergency liquidations from the Federal Reserve in just recent days. $54 billion loan to Credit Suisse, a $30 billion lifeline to First Republic, and Credit Suisse's 8% fell 8% in Europe, and then First Republic tumbled 30%. These slides are happening every day. It's not getting better. We're going to keep bailing them out, and that money is just going to keep disappearing. Dollar index, of course, is showing that the dollar slid 0.6% in a single day. 0.6%. That's a huge loss for the dollar. I know it's less than a penny, but it's almost a half a penny in a day. Contracts with federal funds showing futures of a 63 or 61% probability that the Feds are going to raise the rate by 25 base points, and that's what I project. No matter what's going to happen. Futures also show the Feds have to cut rates by July in a sign of recession fears mounting in the U.S. The central banks tightening monetary policies, all to help try to fight inflation. The problem is if they don't start reversing rates, we will go into a depression. And nobody wants to see that. Money, of course, becoming a big issue across many Americans trying to get through the crisis that we're facing day by day. It's sad to watch what's happening to America. It's sad what's happening not just to America, but around the world. Banks slipping and falling quickly is hurting us more than anything we've seen in a long time. Just got to be blessed that we're still able to stay afloat somewhat. Doesn't look, of course, promising, but nobody said anything was going to be easy at this point. That's the thing. Nothing's easy. Nothing's going to be easy anytime soon. Watching what's happening, it's affecting everybody. Not just one or two people. Households are questioning whether or not they can even keep banking or money in the banking system. And that's human nature. People should be feeling that. Banking troubles are way worse than 2008's financial crisis. Of course, dozens of institutions failed out and were bailed out with billions of government dollars. The government's already paid out $250 billion already in bailouts. But people don't understand it, on top of the loans. Watching these bailouts already going out, not calling them bailouts, but financial crisis or emergency lifeline to these banks. As we wait to see as to what will happen with the U.S. economy, we're not debating a soft landing, no landing. We're debating a mild or severe recession or depression. There is no soft landing or no landing. We're talking about a mild or severe recession to depression. You won't realize how bad that sounds, but it is true. That's what we're facing now. People need to be prepared. I mean, Euro's not gaining much, and watching the U.S. dollar lose huge percentages is ridiculous. Swiss franc is, of course, falling as well. I mean, this is crazy. Japanese Ministry of Finance now, it doesn't know what it's going to do. Trying to work with Switzerland. It's one thing after another. Now, the Australian, which outperformed when investors were feeling optimistic, rose by 0.18%. One of the few that actually did rise, besides outside currencies. It's crazy, though. It is crazy what's happening. Yeah, we're so close to repeating Venezuela, it's not even a question. It's not even a question. All it takes is a tipping point of somebody realizing that the U.S. is over-leveraged, which people already know, but one of these countries that we owe money to, and then they'll call in their debt. It would be officially over for the United States. Inflation would go out of control. Not only that, we have to face the facts. Russia, China, now North Korea, all have troops ready to fight us. North Korea announcing today they have almost 800,000 troops have signed up to fight against the United States. Of course, these comments are coming secretly being released by the communist state after, of course, they launched their intercontinental ballistic missile, which we all know can hit the U.S. now. North Korea is claiming that has 800,000 citizen volunteers so far to join and re-enlist in the nation's military to fight the U.S. This is crazy. We can't afford a war. and it sounds imminent. No matter what we do, it's coming, obviously, whether we like it or not. People need to be prepared. People need to understand that life's not going to be as pretty, as easy as we once thought. As great as it is, and as great as we could be, a lot of things are happening. Young people in these countries that we call dictatorships or communist countries are joining up to fight. We have one thing or another. I mean, the armed North Korea, nuclear armed Russia, Iran, China, India. I mean, all these countries are nuclear armed. Ballistic missiles that were the intercontinental ballistic missiles we're seeing now that can easily hit us should be alarming. Hypersonic missiles, of course, from other countries. That's just way past our technology. They decide to launch directly on us. There's nothing we can really do besides try to intercept. The stronger the warnings are getting from the escalation and tensions from North Korea and China and their counterparts, we're seeing this day by day an escalation, a step for step escalation. Of course, the U.S. wants to try to fly back into Russia's airspace or Ukrainian airspace. That's not going to help anything at this point. We already know we're in trouble. Taking our money out that you can have cash on hand because things are getting crazy. Vladimir Putin is absolutely pissed, and we don't know when he's going to launch. That's the thing is the U.S. will not launch back if it means the end of the world. That was something we had a talk with our allies a long time ago about that nobody really talks about here. But if it shows that enough missiles were launched that the world would not survive if we were to launch, we would not launch. Humanity is more important than us. Yeah, we'll get to that in a second, Teresa. But Vladimir Putin, of course, with his arrest warrant, he is so pissed that he said there's already talk about him using nuclear weapons. And now, of course, that talk is going up, more vital. Watching what's happening is drastic. Yeah, Russia's going to test us. Taking down a plane already. Biggest news, though, is Trump is saying that he will be indicted and will probably be arrested on Tuesday in New York because payments he gave an adult film star, Stormy Daniels, a long time ago. A long, long time ago. Of course, now they're going to try to get criminal charges related to the hush money payments. So, according to them, it was hush money. But illegal leaks are indicating that he will be arrested Tuesday. And he has called on his supporters to protest. Of course, he went on his social media platform, True Social, referring to the reports that he could soon face possible criminal charges in New York. Now, here's the thing. These settlements that happen where people get paid for a non-disclosure agreement, and it's a settlement. It's not hush money. This was a settlement payment. Now she's coming back out and attacking even again. And now, of course, the Justice Department and the DA are all working to do the same thing. This was a closed case. It could not be opened. Now they're going after him paying the payments that he made as the job. Just crazy. Watching what's happening. I mean, the leaks coming from the Justice Department and everything else. And President Trump is rightfully highlighting his innocence and the weaponization of the Justice Department and the justice system. He'll be at a rally, of course, this weekend in Texas, and we're hopefully going to be covering that next weekend. It'll be next weekend because it's already this weekend. But it's America Great Again rally, and it's coming up next weekend. We will be covering that in Texas. I don't think he'll be, no matter what kind of bail they give him, they're not going to be doing anything for that. The law enforcement agencies are supposedly preparing for a possible Trump indictment. So if he gets arrested on Tuesday, I mean, protest, take our nation back is what he's calling for. This is ridiculous. This is a political attack, a political agenda on people. Watch these political attacks happen day in and day out. And they're not getting any smaller. I mean, of course they're not. Nobody cares to make them that way. But attacking a political candidate because you don't like their candidacy and trying to get them charged with anything and everything as quick as possible so we can, of course, bury them is what we're witnessing. Sad as that sounds. The Bidens should be indicted. There's proof and evidence of that. Nobody, of course, is talking about that. And of course, they're trying to push that out of the way. I mean, watching what's happening, this witch hunt that they're going against, trying to go against Trump, is showing that there's extreme partisans within the whole entire court system now, and the justice system. It's basically sealing the fate of the Democrats for 2024. People aren't stupid. People see what's happening. I mean, even if he gets indicted, even if he gets charged, as long as he doesn't get jail time, I mean, he'll be fine. I mean, I think it's ridiculous, though, that the United States courts are making his lawyers testify. And I want to talk about this real quick because this really pisses me off. The judge is making Trump's lawyers testify before a grand jury. Michael Cohen is going to be forced to testify about information he learned as Trump's counsel, which is ridiculous. That's a 110% ridiculous thing to happen. Having any lawyer forced to testify against their client is a breach of our legal ethics in this country. I mean, Cohen, of course, was the lawyer that was part of the $130,000 payment was legal. The money that he sent had a private contract between two parties known as a non-disclosure agreement. The agreement was used to stop the false and extortion accusations made by Stormy Daniels about the affair, despite having signed a detailed letter admitting there was no affair. She signed this, admitting there was no affair. She took the money. Now federal courts are saying that he somehow forced her, and that's the reason he should be on trial because it's illegal. I mean, supposedly the payments principle proposed purposely of influencing Her statements. That's supposable. This is ridiculous. Yeah, the White House is an assisted living facility now. It's a joke. Literally. We're trying to raise $200 by the end of the night, you guys. If any donation, if you can afford anything to donate, please do. We're trying to make this goal tonight. We have $30 so far from Tia. We definitely appreciate her. Appreciate every one of you guys. Whether you can afford to donate or not, we still appreciate you. Trying to make this goal. Get Easter going. But watching our government fall apart, war is imminent at this point. There's no question about that. One way or another, we're going to be drawn into war. Sad to say. Yeah. Well, the problem is Russia's not going to go out to Poland right away. They're going to plan this out. I mean, Russia's not going to go out to Poland unless they have already had to start using nukes. I mean, watching everything though that's happening, that's the least of my concerns. Oh, it's ridiculous. Yeah, there's one thing after another. People are insane. Another train derailments and everything else that's happening. Law enforcement agencies are attacking political parties now. It's a shame. Yeah, Billy, I'm taking calls. Yeah. And always taking calls. Some of the ridiculousness, I mean, it's coming out. The government, we're not taking account for the people that are getting injured. Hi, how you doing tonight, Billy?
Chris, how are you, buddy?
Pretty good.
How are things?
Busy, busy, busy. Watching everything crumble right in front of our eyes.
It's really you know a sad and disheartening day right now for our country to hear what's going on and see what's being perpetrated by really the deep state, man. Really, it's like I just posted in the chat. I said I just watched it again tonight. I don't know if I ever told you about this documentary. Everything's a rich man's trick.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you're aware of it or ever watched it. It's on YouTube. It's like a 2-hour long documentary show. And for you people in the chat who don't know about it, you should watch it because it opens up your eyes and it tells you all about how the elites, the rich families of this country from 100 years ago, who started everything, between the Rothschilds, the Fords, J.P. Morgan family, and all these other families, and how they all were so rich, and how it's just amazing how the show goes in detail from World War One into World War Two. How the show believes really basically that this whole deep state people were really Nazis, were American Nazis, and how
Yeah.
they basically perpetrated and they put Hitler in place. Hitler was just a puppet, really. They had the money and the backing. And it's hard for me to actually articulate a lot of the movie. That's why I urge everyone when your show's over, if they can't go and look this up and watch it and make up
Yeah,
their own mind.
it definitely changes your view a lot once you watch that because it shows a lot of stuff
It
you wouldn't
really
even
makes
think of
you
would
feel
happen.
like we were lied to, Chris, our whole lives about America and the American dream, because and it just really is disheartening. Like I enlisted in the Marines when I was in 1987, and and I was willing to die for this nation and for what I believe that was a righteous and moral standing country, and to believe that it was all bullshit, it was all crap, that we were just pawns in this game, that we really don't mean anything.
Yeah,
And I know people are gonna say, you're delusional, this and that, but watch this documentary and see for yourself. I mean,
you can't say people are disillusioned now. The writing is on the wall. I mean, war is imminent, and that's what our country's pushing for. That's what our government's pushing for, not our country. And our
just
dollar value's down. There's no way to recover the value of the dollar unless we go to war. Wartime changes everything.
war is good business. That's what the elites was saying, and they learned that from World War One when they were supplying all the supplies for both sides, and they did it during World War Two. Henry Ford was making engines for the Nazis while he was making engines for the United States and the Allies.
Yep.
Railroad tracks are leading up to Auschwitz camp. Those were American steel tracks. I mean, the list goes on and on. And FDR knew about these companies doing business with the Nazis, but didn't do anything about it. They played
Well,
both sides.
here's how serious I am that we will be at war within the next couple months. Germany is buying civilian helicopters to convert them for combat purposes because they cannot get combat helicopters in time. I mean, when you're watching stuff like that happen, there's a serious threat. Our government's not talking about. They don't want to tell us. They want the war, so better off leaving us in the dark.
Yeah, but who are we going to war against, though, Chris? Okay, what enemy? What enemy? Has Russia ever tried to invade us? Have they ever even tried to take over us? I mean,
No,
it's like, why? Just because the United States government told us, like after World War II, that the Soviet Union was our mortal enemy and that we were in grave danger?
they're going to do it
It was
again.
almost like
I
we were. It
guarantee
was
it.
almost like we were indoctrinated to
Yep.
believe all this.
Because that's the only way the country knows it can make money.
But meanwhile, it was America who went out and put bases all over the world and imposed their will on other nations. And I hate to say this because I don't want people to think, "Oh, what are you, a trader?" No, I'm not a trader, man. I was a Marine and I was a cop.
We have
And
way overstretched our bounds.
I believe that you can love your nation and still criticize your government at the same time. And there's nothing wrong with that.
I would never live anywhere else in the world, and I've been through lots of different places and combat zones and everything else. But I would never want to live in another country, no matter how shitty America could be. I believe in the system that was originally planned by our forefathers, and that government needs to come back and take control again.
You
I
know,
truly believe that.
yeah, and in this documentary, they also go in great detail about the JFK assassination and how we were all told, we were given that bullshit lie about Oswald acting alone, and he was a Russian agent, and this, and it was all bullshit. You watch this documentary, man. Do people know who Charles Harrelson is? Do you know who Charles Harrelson is?
No.
Okay, he's the father of Woody Harrelson, a famous actor. He's a convicted murderer. He's an assassin. Look him up if you don't believe me, people. And he was involved in the plot, and he's on video saying that he was one of the shooters of the JFK assassination. He was hired. Look, you know why Kenny was shot? Everyone always said, "Oh, who killed Kenny? Was it the mafia? Was it the CIA? Was it this?"
Well,
It
here's
was
the
the
thing. If you
bullshit.
watch the original Kennedy tapes, the unedited ones, you will see the second shot not come from anywhere outside the vehicle, but the driver turns, his right hand crosses under his his right hand. No, his left hand crosses under his right arm, and then you see muzzle flash in the video itself, right at Kennedy, and the bullet went right into the top of his head and out the back of his head
Well, according
when
to
he
the
was already leaning
documentary,
over.
they're saying that the shooter who fired that fatal shot was Charles Harrison, and he was in that sewer. There's a sewer. If you watch the film from the other angle, looking the other way, there's actually a sewer, and they show a clip of where the motorcycle cop actually gets off his motorcycle and actually looks down at the sewer. He's not looking up at the grass. It's really interesting. But the thing is, what I'm saying is, look, JFK was basically like an outsider, really, because you know what? He betrayed the mafia, and he betrayed the CIA with the Bay of Pigs, right? So he pissed off people there. He was going to.
And he wasn't going to go any further. He didn't want to go into Vietnam. He didn't want to do any of that.
He was going to disband the CIA because he didn't trust them, and he wasn't sending troops to Vietnam. So he was interrupting there that all these the military industrial complex and the billions of dollars they were set to make with the bullshit Vietnam War. So he had all those entities working against him, and apparently there was a meeting in Dallas the night before his assassination. And you can look it up. There's like a bunch of people, the elites that were all involved. I mean, this is just a fascinating documentary. I just urge everybody to go watch it and then make your own judgment on it. But it will really open up your eyes about how we're really not in control of our nation. We're controlled by a small group of these people who are unelected, and they
We have a puppet government. We have a puppet government, and we talk about like China's elections not being true or fair. We elect people in this country that are nothing more than puppets to the hand that goes in their back as soon as they reach that office. Time and time again, and I think that's the reason Trump made so many waves, is he did not allow somebody to stick their hand up his ass to control him. I think that's the reason they're so against Trump.
Think about the forces working against Trump from day one, that were against him. I mean, you had the Republican establishment that was against him, right? You had the media, 99% of the media against him. And from day one, they tried everything they can. And it just reminds me of what they did to Kennedy, except with the violence, of course. But, they're doing it a different way. It's no different. It's, he bucked the system. He's not part of the establishment. And they don't want that, the elites.
They can't control.
I'll tell you who's one of the elite families who you have to look up their history. And they are as dirty and corrupt as anyone in the history of this nation. It's the Bushes, man. Look them up. Look up Prescott Bush. And everyone, thinks the Bushes were a good moral family. Bunch of dirtbags, really, man. When you look at them. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say.
We definitely appreciate you guys calling in, and definitely, Billy, anytime you call in.
Get a chance to look up the documentary, and it'll open up your eyes to a lot of things that maybe you didn't know or see before. All right, brother. Listen, stay well, man. God bless.
All right, stay well. God bless. Stay safe out there, man.
Bye-bye.
Got to be prepared. The government obviously is a working force at this point. Whether we call it working against us or not, they're not working for us. That should be the biggest concern. Definitely appreciate you guys all being here tonight. We're going to end up signing off here. We'll be back, of course, Monday night. If you guys can afford to donate, please do. Got to reach that goal somehow, some way. So God bless you all. God bless America. Stay safe out there, seriously, and be prepared. When I'm talking about being prepared, I'm talking about getting a neighborhood group together. Believe it or not, having people to support each other is more important than goods to support yourself. I swear, and it's going to be honest, that's the best way to be prepared. So till then, we'll see you guys Monday night. God bless you. God bless America. And stay strong. Good night.